Some news just coming in. TMC MP Derek O'Brien's veiled dig at the Prime Minister and at Amit Shah. He tweeted, "Is anyone counting? The two really think CM stands for chairs musical." So as expected, the opposition is taking a dig at the change of leadership in the state of Gujarat. Polemy continues to be with us. Musical chairs, is it, Polemy? That's what the TMC is choosing to call it.
Well, Sneha, we were discussing this earlier. The opposition is definitely going to use this opportunity. They are going to take pot shots at the Bharatiya Janata Party in just a few months' time. They've changed their chief ministers in Uttarakhand, in Karnataka, and now in the state of Gujarat. So clearly, the opposition is definitely going to milk this opportunity and point fingers at the Bharatiya Janata Party to show that they do not have the kind of leadership that the party trusts from within. They appoint these leaders and then for some reason or the other, they change these leaders. So what is it that's going on within the Bharatiya Janata Party? Of course, the BJP, like I was telling earlier, would like the narrative to be that the BJP is not shying away from any kind of course correction. You appoint a leader, there can be feedback from the ground that he's not doing his job right and he needs to be replaced, and that is that feedback that the BJP is taking into account and is acting upon it. Of course, with Gujarat, it became extremely imminent for the BJP to act and do something, given that there were reports of non-performance against the Vijay Rupani-led government, especially because elections are around the corner. Gujarat is a prestigious state for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is the state from where the Prime Minister himself hails. His background is from Gujarat, and the Bharatiya Janata Party hasn't been out of power in the state of Gujarat for a very, very long time right now. But clearly the rumblings on the ground and from within the party internally in the Bharatiya Janata Party was such that the BJP suspected that it could in fact impact their prospects at the hustings in December 2022, and hence the Bharatiya Janata Party has decided to do this sort of course correction where they are going to replace the chief minister. He is of course tendered in his resignation. He is of course talking about Nai Urja. He's talking about new energy, new passion. Does that mean someone who clearly is younger? We don't know, but there are names that are doing the rounds who are not very young, but the names that are doing the rounds, Sneha, of course include that of Nitin Patel, Deputy Chief Minister, who has of course harbored ambitions, chief ministerial ambitions for a very, very long time. In fact, on the 7th of August 2016, when Vijay Rupani was sworn in as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Nitin Patel almost believed he was going to be elected leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party legislative party at that point of time. In fact, we do have it from sources back then that he did go around telling a lot of people that I'm going to become the chief minister. The bouquets, the sweets, they'd all started arriving at Nitin Patel's house, and then of course came the surprise news that Vijay Rupani is taking over from Anandiben Patel at that point of time. And then of course he continued on after the Bharatiya Janata Party won the elections in 2017 as well. Then of course the name of Govardhan Zadafia, which my colleague Gopi says is one of the names that is doing the rounds as well. Now that is a very interesting choice because Govardhan Zadafia is someone who has been in and out of the BJP. He is someone who is linked with the VHP. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad was in fact alleged to have had an involvement in the 2002 Gujarat riots as well. He in fact had left the party at one point of time in 2002, the Bharatiya Janata Party. It was said because of some sort of internal discord with Narendra Modi at that point of time, but he made a comeback into the BJP in 2014. He merged his party. He had formed his own party after he had left the BJP, the Gujarat Parivartan Party. He merged it into the BJP, and now we hear from Gopi, my colleague on the ground in Ahmedabad, that Govardhan Zadafia could be one of the names that could be considered by the BJP Legislative Party when it meets in Ahmedabad to elect their new leader. Of course, the other names that are doing the rounds are that of Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, but we have it from Mr. Mandavia's office that is possibly not the case. Mr. Mandavia is going nowhere. He is here he's going to be in Gujarat and this in Delhi, I beg your pardon, and same goes the case with Purushottam Rupala, who just got elevated in the Union Cabinet reshuffle, so he's going nowhere as well.
Okay, interesting. Polemy telling us that Mansukh Mandavia is not going anywhere, so he's firmly in his position as the health minister. He's going to be in Delhi. He's going to be overseeing the work as far as the pandemic is concerned, and that is the most important job when it comes to administration right now at this point in time in the country. Now, talking about the developments in the state of Gujarat, Vijay Rupani, as we know, has quit as the chief minister. It was a rather surprising move. He was elected, remember, as the chief minister in 2016, and that was a surprise as well, like Paulami pointed out. He led the BJP to a victory in 2017 state elections. After quitting as the chief minister, Rupani said the decision has been taken in the state's interest. He will now work to strengthen the party. After his resignation, names of 3 probable candidates, including that of Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, is doing the rounds. Paulami says it's unlikely that he is going to go back to Gujarat, but the other name doing the rounds is that of Deputy Chief Minister Nitin Patel and the BJP State Chief C.R. Patil. Also, BJP State Vice President Gordhan Zadafia, the former Home Minister of the state, somebody who had also quit the BJP at some point in time before coming back to the party. With this, Rupani becomes the 4th BJP Chief Minister to quit in the middle of his term.
मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रति अपना आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि मेरे जैसे एक पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता को गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री पद की महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेदारी दी। गुजरात के विकास की यात्रा में गत 5 वर्षों में मुझे भी योगदान करने का जो अवसर मिला, उसके लिए मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के बहुत आभारी हूँ, आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। मेरा मानना है कि अब गुजरात की विकास की यह यात्रा प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में एक नए उत्साह, नई ऊर्जा के साथ नए नेतृत्व में आगे बढ़नी चाहिए। ये ध्यान रखकर मैंने गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री पद के दायित्व से त्याग पत्र दिया है। मुझे जो
All right, so we've seen a couple of BJP chief ministers put down their papers. There's been a bit of a quitting spree when it comes to different states. Vijay Rupani, the latest one, has just quit as the chief minister of Gujarat. A few weeks ago, we had B.S. Yediyurappa quit as the chief minister of Karnataka, and before that, of course, Tirath Singh Rawat as the chief minister of Uttarakhand had quit. Before him, some shake-up in Uttarakhand, quite a bit in fact, with Trivendra Singh Rawat also quitting as the chief minister of Uttarakhand. Paulami Saha continues to be with us. Paulami, the Bharatiya Janata Party, for one, is a party that really, and at least in this form, is not really shying away from taking these big decisions of such major shake-ups. It's a risk to take, but you rightly pointed out earlier that maybe this can be seen as the party taking feedback and using it effectively to ensure that come what may, victory is ensured in whichever assembly elections, including the one in Gujarat that goes to polls in about 1.5 years from now, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. As far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, it cannot afford to take any sort of chances with being in governance. That is the bottom line as far as the BJP goes. Whether there are elections round the corner or not, in Karnataka there are no elections round the corner, at least not in the next year or so. So the Bharatiya Janata Party changing the chief minister there on midway through his term was basically taking feedback from internally within the party, and the perception on the ground as well that former Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa and his son were virtually running the Karnataka government, and very few people had much say in it, and the BJP was breaking and was splitting in the middle as far as the state unit was concerned, because there was a lot of disgruntlement among the party MLAs and of course the ministers as well, who served as ministers in B.S. Yediyurappa's cabinet against the father-son duo. It took that feedback and then of course it course corrected. It took a while to of course get the chief minister on board, the former chief minister on board with the decision, but then of course the BJP reached a compromise formula. It took several rounds of meetings before that decision was arrived at. As far as the Uttarakhand is concerned, again something that they feared was was some sort of course correction that they needed to do, because Uttarakhand goes to polls in the early half of 2022. the feedback on the ground, especially after the whole Kumbh Mela fiasco, was something which was hurting the image of the Bharatiya Janata Party. There were way too many claimants within the party who were trying to break the party, who were not willing to, continue under the leadership under the leadership of Tirath Singh Rawat, former Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, and hence, of course, again, the reshuffle that happened, the rejig that happened, Tirath Singh Rawat wasn't allowed to contest an election as he should have in order to be elected into the Legislative Assembly, and Pushkar Dhami was brought in. And now the case in Gujarat, where again the reports suggest that it was the non-performance of the government under Vijay Rupani in terms of perception as well. It was taking a hit over the last few years, especially its COVID management, and all of these were factors which the BJP believed was going to impact it and hurt it badly when it went into the election. So they needed a change of guard at the topmost position, and that is what they are now going to do. Of course, the Chief Minister has resigned, and he, of course, being a disciplined worker of the party, has said that he will, of course, continue to serve in whatever post the party deems fit within the organization, but now to bring in someone who, of course, will lead the party into the elections at the end of 2022.
Paulmi, be with us. We'll continue to keep a very close eye on that story with you. Oh, all right, we're going across to Rahul also, who is now joining us. Rahul, what else have you picked up about a decision being taken in terms of appointing the new Chief Minister? How soon can we expect that?
Sneha, the exercise is going to be bloodless, but we are told that virtually the names of those, the person who is going to lead is decided. And tonight when the MLAs of the party meet, it might be virtual free to comply for them that who their leader is going to be. And once that decision is taken, there is a possibility that as soon as by tomorrow, the new incumbent leader of the legislative party of the BJP in Gujarat will be going to the governor and expressing his desire to be sworn in. And then on there will be a swearing-in ceremony which will be there to induct the new Chief Minister, and also a list of Council of Ministers will be drawn.